News here into CBS Sports HQ. Kevin Durant has declined his over $30 million player option with the Golden State Warriors, who will become a free agent. This news somewhat expected. Now, still on the table is the option for him to re-sign with the Golden State Warriors for 5 years. That means the Warriors would be able to offer him the extra year as well as a lot more money, or he can go sign 4 years and a max offer somewhere else. The Knicks are rumored to be in the mix for Kevin Durant. So are the Brooklyn Nets and the LA Clippers. But this at least takes one option off the table. That option was KD opting in for the next year for the Golden State Warriors. That will not happen. So here's a look at the free agency odds to land KD, and the Nets favored at -125. The Warriors next best odds at +200 to retain him. Actually, Brooklyn favored for KD and Kyrie Irving. Free agency starts in 4 days. All right now, let's bring in our NBA analyst, Raja Bell, in his Cannell and Bell clothes.
Yeah, you like that?
Because you were almost out the door.
I was breaking news, dude.
And this broke, and what was your reaction when you heard it?
Did we think anything else was going to happen? I just felt like this was the inevitable scenario from the jump. You know, whether KD stays or not, he was always going to opt out of that last year of the contract to get into this free agent market. And so nothing is really been clarified by that move, in my opinion. But we are where we are, and apparently now it seems like Brooklyn is in the driver's seat for both him and Kyrie. And I think if that kind of steam is being built up, and those type of rumors are circulating out there, that's a real viable possibility for him. And if I had to bet, I would bet that he winds up in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn,
because it's funny, like a month ago, it was fait accompli, he's going to the Knicks, right?
Yeah.
And so what has kind of swayed you, and now you lean a little more toward Brooklyn now?
Well, I always felt like this was kind of going to be a package scenario where two, or, these teams that have cleared enough cap space to recruit 2 max guys, if they got one, they were getting 2. And so then it would become wherever those guys kind of teamed up and decided they wanted to play together. And so I don't know why they've decided Brooklyn is more of an inviting situation. They've been run better over the last few years. They've got a better young nucleus, I guess, so I do know why. But if you got one, you were getting 2, and if Kyrie was more heavily linked to Brooklyn and decided that's where he wanted to be, then KD was probably going to be going to Brooklyn as well.
So if you're leaning Brooklyn and Vegas is leaning Brooklyn, if you're Bob Myers and that Golden State front office, what do you need to do when you sit down KD to convince him to come back?
I don't know what you can do. If a player's mind's already made up, and this is as cut and dry as it seems to kind of be, where he's going to go with Kyrie, I don't know that there's much you can do. And you couple that with the way the leg was handled down the stretch. There have been rumblings that KD kind of wasn't in love with the way he was handled there with his Achilles injury. Now, I don't know what you can do if you were Bob, except just kind of go over what they've done together in KD's time there, kind of entice him with the new arena and the possibility and your game plan for how this thing is going to, continue to be a championship run for them. Those would be all the bullets in your chamber, but ultimately I don't know that any of that gets you over the hump if a guy's mind's made up that he's going somewhere else.
And the narrative sort of switched during this last finals, where it's like, oh, he's just joining a 73-win team. No, it's clear, like, they need this dude to put them over that championship hump. So are you surprised that an Achilles tear for a guy who's 30 years old, it's a given he's going to get a max offer somewhere? Is that a surprise to you?
Well, not with a guy like Kevin Durant. I mean, had this been a, third-tier NBA player, yeah, I'd be surprised that he didn't lose some money, in the process. But not for Kevin Durant. Teams had positioned themselves again for the last year or so to have the flexibility to go out and try to get 2 max guys. You don't just give up on that because Kevin Durant's injured. Yeah, it's going to take a while before you see the end game there, before you're championship ready. But if I'm making the case for Brooklyn, that might be a good thing. Like, maybe you bring Kyrie in there. You guys are an exciting young team again next year. Kevin Durant comes back. I don't know what their books look like, but maybe at that point, you're able to get even more help, more supplementation, in terms of firepower around the edges to really be a championship contender. So, no, I'm not surprised that Kevin Durant's still as coveted as he is.
So if he leaves, and again, you're leaning Nets, Vegas leaning Nets, I'm Klay Thompson looking at this saying, okay, a big piece of our championship formula is out the door. How might this affect Klay and the way he looks at things?
Yeah, I think Klay's been pretty firm that if they make him the max offer, he wants to be a Golden State Warrior. So it becomes whether they make him the max offer or not, or they think they're going to get some kind of hometown discount. I think if they try to lowball him and think they're going to get a hometown discount, Klay might walk. If they offer him the max, I think he'll be there. They've won championships before Kevin Durant was there. Now, yeah, it's been a while since you saw that version of Golden State, and they'll have to bring in other pieces to fill the void of Kevin Durant if he leaves. But with him and Steph Curry healthy, Draymond Green, that nucleus can vie for championships in the NBA. So Klay, I don't think is going to be he won't be swayed by anything other than whether or not he gets the max deal from his hometown club.
And it's funny that they haven't indicated to him for sure, we're going to give you that max. And teams, we keep talking, free agency starts in July, in just 4 days on June the 30th.
Yeah.
Teams can offer their own free agents at any time, but they haven't offered Klay. Would you think, though, if KD left, this is a guarantee Klay does get that deal in Golden State?
I would hope so. I don't see any other reason for him not to get the max deal. There's nothing else that you really need to take care of. I was a player, my first time around in real free agency, I played for the Jazz for 2 years. And I was on, very bargain basement type of contract. And so this was going to be my first time around the block, in true free agency. And so, I'm clearly not Klay, but this is a similar type of situation where that night, July 30th or July 1st at the time, 12:01 p.m., my phone was ringing off the hook. I had 5 or 6 teams that called me offering deals. Utah hadn't budged, and so we called Utah to say, hey, look, he's getting offers from other teams, and their response was that we'll kind of deal with it in the morning. And as a player, that was a little offensive to me, right? Because I was one of their own, and I felt like I had done enough there, and I wanted to stay there, and I had 5 other teams already at bat offering contracts. And so, at the end of the day, I chose to leave and go somewhere else. Now, I don't know that Utah would have paid me that money or not, but I wasn't sticking around to see because I felt a little disrespected by the hometown club. And so, you're asking and you're saying that Golden State hasn't made it clear that they're going to sign Klay to the max. I don't know what the motivation behind that would be, but you need to take care of that.
Yeah. Did you like being courted by those teams? Because, now we're on a timeline here with Kevin Durant. He'll enter free agency. He'll be courted. We don't know how long it's going to take. Is that an enjoyable process?
Well, it hadn't gone to these new levels when I was around, and I got my deal done that night, right? And so I wasn't really taking trips to visit and been, kind of have my name up on the display and been given these boxes. This recruitment has gone to a whole nother level now. I didn't experience any of that. And quite frankly, I don't love when the stars take 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 days to let this play out because it holds everything else up at times.
If you're the domino.
If you're the domino waiting to fall behind Kevin Durant. So I like if guys already have a feeling where they want to go and their minds are already kind of made up, just go ahead and make it a swift thing, get it over with, let the rest of free agency kind of play itself out.
Yeah.
If you are organically kind of just confused as to where you want to be and you don't know and these are real emotions that are playing themselves out, then obviously take your time and figure out what the best place is for you. But in a lot of cases, it's just guys wanting to take all these trips and be courted, and that holds a lot of other guys up in the process.
Yeah. All right, so speaking of those other guys, let's throw up right now the list of some other free agents. Let's say Kevin Durant did leave. Obviously, they can't afford all these guys, but is there anyone here who you think might be able to, even down the line when they get more cap space, fill that void of KD there in Golden State?
Oh, man, there are guys. I mean, Tobias Harris is a name. He's not Kevin Durant, but he's a big wing player, can shoot the ball, is very good offensively. Chris Middleton's another guy in that mold. There's nobody else really on that list. I mean, you're talking about switching positions with Nikola Vucevic, and then Kemba Walker's a point guard. You don't need a point guard. Kyrie Irving, point guard. You don't need a point guard.
No, you don't.
So that list, it would be Tobias and maybe Chris Middleton as guys that you could bring in and won't be taking over a job that you've already got someone to do.
All right, we got about a minute, and I got to sign off here talking about the Knicks because people wonder where this leaves them. They're actually, to sign KD, 3rd best odds now at plus 500. They were once the favorite not long ago. To sign Kyrie, they're plus 1,000. So where does this leave the Knicks now that the rumors are leaning toward the Nets?
You're still going to go out and make your pitch.
Yeah.
You're going to make these guys tell you no. I'm not going off of rumors or odds. I want to hear that you don't want to be a Knick. But what they should not do is go out and then overspend if they don't get a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie just because you have money to throw around and get yourself in a situation where you don't have any flexibility in the next few years. Be prudent and understand who you are as a franchise and where you are as a franchise. It's not championship time right now for the Knicks if they strike out on those guys. Keep biding your time. Figure out what you have in the young guys and then strike when it's appropriate and they're guys that you feel like you can get. Don't go out and overspend just because you missed out.
Real quick, how long do you think this will take here with KD? He'll be an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, I think it'll take about 5 days.
5 days?
Yep.
All right. We got a lot more talk about KD opting out, becoming an unrestricted free agent. He's Raja Bell. I'm Casey Kieran, Evan Washburn, Tommy Tran. A fresh hour of HQ up next.